Authors Lamar Waldron and Tom Hartman believe there was a high-level effort to keep the commission from knowing too much about the assassination of President Kennedy.
And the mob knew that. The well-intentioned, avoid World War III, avoid the end of all life on Earth cover-up plan would go into place.
Only days after the mafia aborts its plan to shoot the president in Chicago, high-level members of Kennedy's administration are scrambling. But it's not the mob they're worried about. It's Castro.
Castro was quoted shortly before the Kennedy assassination as saying, "I know your people are trying to get me, and you better get the word out that if something happens to me, something's going to happen to your person."
The administration worries there will be more attempts to kill the president, but its focus is on Cuba and not on the mob. The trip to Tampa is too important to cancel.
JFK was set to give a speech, a major speech on Cuba, that would be widely reported, not just in the United States press. And several lines of that speech, the CIA says they wrote for JFK to give.
It is a message to the coup leader that Kennedy will publicly support the new regime after Castro. But shortly before Kennedy is to arrive in Tampa, the mob's second assassination attempt begins to unravel when rumors about the hit begin to circulate. Law enforcement confirms the plot, but with the president determined to go on with the trip, it's little consolation.
They were very concerned about a tall building, the Floridian Hotel, the tallest building in Tampa, that overlooked a hard left turn along the motorcade route. In fact, it looks very much like the school book depository, only much taller, with many more unguarded windows.
On November 18th, the motorcade proceeds as planned. At one point, the president actually stands up in the open car.
This wasn't reckless defiance. This was Jack Kennedy cueing a potential ally in Cuba that, you know, we are with you. I'm willing to take these kinds of risks for you. This is the kind of sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Everyone is on edge. Kennedy, police, Secret Service. What they don't know is that Mafia Chief Santo Trafficante has learned of the leak from his police mole. The assassination attempt in Tampa is called off before Kennedy even gets in the car.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The rest of the president's trip goes as scheduled, much to the relief of the Kennedys and to the frustration of the mob. There is only one chance left to kill the president before the coup plan goes into action. Dallas. The day of the president's arrival, Mafia Chief Johnny Rosselli suddenly disappears from FBI surveillance. 4 unconfirmed reports from mob informants place Rosselli in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963.
I don't think he was going to grab a gun and run out in the street and shoot Kennedy if it didn't work, but he was going to make sure nobody screwed anything up.
And there's someone else in Dallas, a nightclub owner with a much greater role in the assassination than the government ever lets on.
Jack Ruby had been a low-level gangster figure in drugs and prostitution and other unsavory areas for many decades.
Suddenly, Ruby gets a mysterious down payment of $7,000 and starts talking about a move to the richest part of town.
He was paid off by associates of Jimmy Hoffa, the corrupt Teamster boss, who was himself deeply connected to the mafia, just weeks before Dallas. So that again raises all sorts of questions about why Ruby was receiving this payment so close to the assassination.
How could this lowly mob soldier become key to the plot to kill the president? Ruby is the mob's insider at the Dallas Police Department, a man with long-standing friendships with many officers in the force. But he's more than the mob's eyes and ears. If Oswald is arrested for the assassination, it's Ruby's job to take him out.
The theory is that because he was able to slip in and out of the police department at will, he'd be a good guy to hire to kill Oswald.
No one else but Ruby could possibly get close enough to kill Oswald after he's taken into custody.
I positively know nothing about this situation here.
On the morning of November 22nd, thousands line the presidential motorcade route in Dallas. The president rides with the First Lady and Texas Governor John Connally and his wife.
There was not an active threat in Dallas. The Secret Service thought they could breathe a sigh of relief, as did JFK. So people had to some degree let their guard down in Dallas.
The motorcade begins at noon. By 12:30, the line of limos approaches the intersection of Houston and Elm Streets in downtown Dallas, Dealey Plaza. It's a hard turn onto Elm. The cars slow to a virtual crawl. Suddenly, a burst of gunfire scatters pigeons and sends onlookers ducking for cover. In less than 6 seconds, a president is fatally gunned down. The number of shots and the direction that they came from will be hotly debated for the next 40 years.
Lee Harvey Oswald's rifle. This is an exact duplicate. The idea that a person who can only qualify by 2 points at the lowest rung of the military's weapons proficiency test could take this piece of junk and hit a moving target and find his sight picture in 5.6 seconds is ludicrous.
Were you in the building at the time? Naturally, if I work in that building, yes, sir.
Back up, man!
There is no doubt Lee Harvey Oswald is in the Texas School Book Depository overlooking Dealey Plaza that day. And the rifle used to kill the president belongs to Oswald. But does he fire the weapon? Or is Oswald set up to take the fall?